Lala Kent is apologizing to the Vanderpump Rules fans after the reunion, which we're going to break down part 3 of that reunion. We had this big hyped up Lala versus Ariana fight, and we got to it, and it was something about nothing. Let's get into it. You're listening to No Filter with Zach Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What up? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Welcome to the gun show. Ooh. Hi guys. Happy what's today? Wednesday? Happy hump day. Happy hump day. Vanderpump day after. Whew. Yo, I is tired. Today trained me. We had a lot of fun at Schwartz and Sandy's last night. We were drinking. I was drinking their espresso martinis. I had an old fashioned with the Tom's Good Lovin' bourbon. We were handing out Kyle Chan's Gold Bar whiskey, which was a lot of fun. He has this. It's a whiskey aged 18 years, gorgeous gold bottle, so fun. We had a blast last night, like truly so much fun. It was great getting to see everybody and hang out. Yeah, it's Kyle Chan in collaboration with Gold's Bar. It's a premium blend made with exceptional dedication to quality and excellence for moments worth celebrating. Extra aged whiskey, cognac barreled with toasted oak, Stav finish. Aged at least 18 years, 95 proof. So Kyle's like, make sure you don't pass them out like shots because you're gonna get everybody like tart and lit. And I was like, I know, thank you. That's the point. We had fun. We were doing Vanderpump trivia last night. We were watching. Okay, I'm gonna say this right now. The reunion part 3 was a little mid. Like there was this big hype about this big like Lala versus Ariana beef. And we got a whole lot of something about nothing, if you ask me. I just thought that the beef wasn't really beefing. It was like an Impossible Burger. And I'm like, where's the beef? And I even did a little poll to see what you guys thought. And I was very surprised. First question I asked was thoughts on the Vanderpump Rules reunion. Loved it or I wanted more. 71% of people said that they wanted more. And then I asked, oh, wow, this is a plot twist. I asked, are you guys team Ariana or team Lala? And as of this morning, everyone was team Lala. And now it seems to have switched a bit. And we're at 62% on Ariana's side and 38% on Lala's side. That was a plot twist because it was leaning the other way earlier this morning. And then I said, was the Ariana versus Lala beef worth all the hype? 77% said it wasn't even that crazy, which is true. It wasn't even that crazy. But so we had a good reunion. It was fine. We didn't have shots at the end. We didn't have a toast at the end. We had something about her sandwiches for like the 87th time. Had the Diane sandwich yet again. No, I'm actually very excited to go to something about her because I want to try these sandwiches. Oh, there was this one guy. You guys are going to hate him. I already know it. But so he went to something about her and he did a whole review. His name, what is his name? His name is Kevin Escalera and his Instagram account is Snack Eating Snacks. Oh, he's a snack eating snack. He is a bit of a snack. Like I'd be like, let me munch on that little snacky snack. And so he goes and tries out different spots and reviews them. And so he reviewed something about her. And let's see, he tried, I think, 3 different sandwiches. And of those 3 sandwiches, he only, I think, liked one of them. 1, 2. Yeah, he had 3 different sandwiches and he had the wrap. And he said that the first ones, including the wrap, were a little mid. He's like, they just weren't really giving, right? And then, but he said that the last one, what was the last? Okay. We see Katie, and she looks like she's over it, serving tables. It's something about her. I don't see Ariana there. He said they only let him order 4 sandwiches. Okay. He says the Diane is a tuna salad on a baguette, and it's way too dry and chewy. The Kate is a Capri sandwich on a ciabatta. It's pretty basic. And then he says the Meg is the wrap on the menu. And it wasn't that. But he said the Viola is one you have to get. It's a smoked turkey sandwich on sourdough. It feels gourmet and elevated. It has onion marmalade. And he said that's the one we have to get. He said Katie was working hard. And I'm sorry. I don't know if it was just the clips that he chose to use of Katie, but she's just like over it, right? She's like wiping the table. She's like, here's your sandwich. She's like, what the fuck am I doing? I gave up bussing tables and serving people years ago. She's like, I didn't think I was gonna come back here while Ariana gets to do Roxy Hart, you know? Because obviously Lala said Katie had a lot of shade to throw at Ariana behind her back. But like if you just look at the video, his Instagram is called Snack Eating Snacks with 2 S's at the end. And it's just so funny because if you look at his video, you just see Katie Malone and she just looks so over it. She's just like, especially if you see somebody filming you, at least for the first 2 weeks, like act like you give a fuck, right? Be like, here's your sandwich. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, hi. You want to sell? Like, I don't know, play it. She's just like just handing the tray. She's like, here. Like I'm like, girl, you used to do this at Sir down the street. Let's get with it. Give me something about her. Give me that $5 foot long. No, they're like $16 foot longs. But listen, apparently the Diane is the sandwich you got to try, which that's gonna be at the first of my list. The little wrap, I was talking to Chef Stu about it, and we were saying like the little wrap maybe just needs like a little more lettuce to kind of beef it up a little bit. Do we have the sandwiches? Oh, I think, do we? No. I used to have it here I used to have it here, and I think I took it out of the media deck. All the sandwiches that people were posting. But listen, I'm excited to try something about. I love a good sandwich. I hear they have gluten-free bread, so I'm gonna try some sandwiches on some gluten-free bread. I'll bring Chef Stu with me, so he'll try the gluten versions, and I'll have the gluten-free versions, and we'll taste or maybe I'll eat a little gluten just for Katie and Ariana. I'll do it and let you know my honest and true review of Katie Maloney's bologna sandwich. But the reunion was quite interesting. Not really. We didn't get a whole lot. Like there was a cute moment with like Katie and Schwartz talking about like, how much Schwartz still loves Katie, which I found a little endearing. We saw them react to that final scene where they do all of the throwback clips, and we see Lala and she's talking about how we live our lives so authentically and she loves filming the show. And a lot of the reunion was focused around Lala's frustration with people not being authentic on camera. Which is interesting because a lot of people were like, Ariana leaving was the most authentic thing that she should have done, and good for Ariana. That was real. I hate produced shows, but yet they love, table flips, and they love, the Kim Richards versus Lisa Rinna fight in Amsterdam, which, yeah, people, of course, people flip tables at a dinner all the time. Like that's totally authentic and normal behavior. Like what world are we living in? It's reality TV. We love the drama. We love, the hype. We love the action. That's like being like, I want to go to a Tom Cruise movie, but you know what? I don't like the explosions. Like they're just a little too much for me. And like, I just, I want Tom Cruise to respect my boundaries. I'm just like, guys, like we watch these shows for am I in the Twilight Zone? Like we watch these shows for the drama and for the confrontation and for the tears, and we feel them when we feel connected to them. And it was funny because I was tweeting a bit about the reunion last night, and then I noticed I normally don't I've stopped reading like comments and tweets and stuff, but like occasionally, like this morning, I was like, I have a little time, so I was drinking my coffee. I went on my Twitter mentions and was just kind of scrolling through some of the comments, and then one person was like, you don't get it, Zack. I found when Ariana walked out of that finale, it was inspirational. And I was like, you were inspired that what? She went to Applebee's? You were motivated by her going to order what? Fettuccine Alfredo out of a bag that they warmed up for her? Like what? You were inspired by that? And she's like, yes, I was inspired, Zack. I was inspired by her walking away from her abuser. You don't get it. I was like, now Sandoval's an abuser? Like what? He cheated on her. like, yeah, he's a cheater, and maybe you can call him like a sleazeball, but like, I, I, you're motivated, you're inspired that she walked away from him at the finale, but are you still inspired that she sleeps down the hall from him and like shares a house? Like, I don't know. Like, I was just like, y'all crazy. Like, now we just getting silly, you know. I was inspired by that. I don't know why I've suddenly turned into Moira Rose, baby. But I just thought that that was. I'm like, what were you inspired? She went to Applebee's. Like, she's literally like, I'm not gonna film this scene. I'm gonna go to Applebee's. Let's get it. Give me that. $5 appetizer, happy hour. Like, okay. I mean, listen, I personally am more inspired by Lala's story. She was with a very powerful, wealthy, like, faux wealthy, but like a seemingly powerful, Hollywood producer. Who treated her poorly. She left without any money. She rebuilt herself on her own as a single mother. She is a single mother, providing for her, taking care of her family. She's having a baby all on her own. To me, that's a very inspiring, she built a business that, is still successful. She has Give Them Lala Beauty, Give Them Lala Baby, Give Them Lala Skin. Like, she's built that out into, from just her, what were they, lip glosses, and now, she's built it out into like a cosmetics line. I think a woman that's built a business, has kept it sustainable on her own, is a single mother, doing it all on her own, fighting in this custody battle with somebody like Randall Emmett. I find that story inspiring. I mean, I personally, am inspired by strong women. I was raised by many strong women. So I look at Lala's story, and to me, that's inspiring. Ariana, I'm glad that she's thriving, but I'm just like, she got cheated on and then was just handed so many of these opportunities, and good for her. She should go to Chicago, go to Dance with the Stars. I'm not saying Ariana should turn down any of those opportunities. Rachel Leviss was the ding dong who was like, I don't want to do that. And now she like has a dumb little podcast. But like, I just personally am more inspired by Lala. Lala went and did a documentary with Hulu, The Randall Scandal. Personally, I thought that documentary was a bit of a flop, but like, she at least was like trying to be a voice for other women. She's a businesswoman, she's a single mom. To me, that's a real inspiring story. Somebody that begrudgingly opens up a sandwich shop after, getting handed so many opportunities because she got cheated on. Sure, there's motivation that you can find in that. Like, if you're inspired by her going to Applebee's, good for you. Like, I preach, sis, do you. But I don't know, the way, I don't know, I'm happy for Ariana. I just personally find Lala's story a little more inspiring. Um, But yeah, the reunion really, the beef between Lala and Ariana. Remember when it came out on Twitter that like Ariana eviscerated Lala at the reunion, and that was like all the tweet, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I can't wait." I was like, I don't think either of them won anything. Like, some people were like Lala ate, and some people were like Ariana ate. I was like, I don't think either of them ate. They, like, had a bite of a something about her sandwich, but I would hardly say either of them ate that reunion or ate each other up. Like, it was like a minute and 30 seconds of them just kind of, like, expressing their side of the argument, and then it was kinda just done. I feel like Katie and Lala had more of a back and forth than Lala and Ariana did. Um, but, like, my heart did go out to Ariana, seeing her cry after watching the final scene and watching everyone's reactions to that. I did feel for her because that is hard. I mean, one, I think, maybe she wouldn't be as shocked by some of these comments if she actually did watch the season. Um, but I think everybody's point in that was valid. I think Sheena's point was valid. I think Ariana's point was valid. I think Lala's point was valid. Um, it was a solid season, right? Like, everybody had a personal storyline. Lala was on her fertility journey, rebranding her business. James and Allie were like settling down into, from being crazy party boy to now he has a house and he got the dog and he's like having his little family that he's trying to build with Allie and determining where their relationship is going to go. And Allie, does astrology, and she like reads Geminis and Leos and tigers and bears. Oh my! And Katie was working. She was, opening something about her, and she was flexing those facial muscles with all the faces she was making all season long. Schwartz was dating again. Katie was also dating, so we're kind of seeing them single and explore, life not being married, kind of getting back on the horse. Katie was banging Max and kissing Sheena's nanny, and Schwartz was kissing Sheena's nanny. So we saw them like navigate this next chapter of their post-divorce relationship as friends. Um, Sandoval was obviously trying to pick up the pieces after becoming like, public enemy number one. Sheena was struggling with like being a newer mom and like having separation anxiety and dealing with her OCD and like, navigating her relationship with Brock while also being a mom and learning when to let go and when to, you know, be too hands-on. And that was, part of her personal storyline. So I feel like everyone had a pretty solid storyline that they were able to kind of see through to the end. And it was a solid season. Part 3 of the reunion, I would maybe give it like a 6 out of 10. Maybe even like a 5.5. Curious what you guys think about the reunion, how you guys are feeling about it, because it was interessante. But Lala Kent went on her podcast and she got emotional and was talking about one, she did apologize to fans by saying, listen, if there's anything that I said that was out of pocket, I apologize. And she explains that the reason she got so heated about some of the commentary from the fans. She's like, it's not about the show. She's like, listen, if we wear something that you don't like, you guys are going to comment on it. I know that that comes with the territory. If I have an opinion that you don't like, I know that comes with the territory. You guys may not like it. If I do or say something that you guys don't like, I understand that like that comes with the territory of being on a reality show. You guys aren't going to love me every single second. She's like, however, the part that really got to her was the fact that people were attacking her as a mother and attacking her parenting. And she's like, listen, you don't see me as a mom on the show. You don't see my daughter on the show. She's like, at first that was Randall's decision. And now, I'm kind of happy that we don't have Ocean on the show because I'm very protective of her, which I understand, right? But she said that it was the comments about her kid and about her mothering style and about her as a mom that really affected her more than anything. And that's when, she was just saying like the fans were getting too crazy. And like I get it. And the thing is, I think sometimes fans have made it less fun because it's like it is so divisive and it is so like extreme. It's like if you don't agree with me, you're wrong and you're evil and you're a terrible person and yada, yada, yada. It's like your opinion of Vanderpump Rules suddenly determines your character. And I'm just like, like what? Like, y'all need to just like chill and like, let's have fun. Bravo should be fun. Summer should be fun, you know? So I kind of felt for Lala in that. I mean, I also think, listen, I'm a lot like Lala. I have a big mouth. I have opinions. I just put it all out there. Sometimes I'll even just tweet things just to get the fans all fired up. It's funny. My friend Steven texted me this meme yesterday. Um, and it said, I'm bored. I'm about to make that everyone else's problem. And that's me. He's like, this is so you. And I was like, that's so me. If I get bored, I'll just like tweet something spicy. Kyle Richards is the queen of Beverly Hills. Tweet. And then I just know that like people are going to get all fired up about it. And I just kind of sit back and laugh at it. I don't really read all the reactions or the tweets anymore. I just do it just because I know people will get like so fired up about it. And I'm just like, yeah, let's keep everybody's blood pressure pumping, But I do know that it does come with the territory, and sometimes there does come a really big, nasty, negative reaction. Like I said, I was getting slammed with 1-star podcast reviews on all 3 of my shows, or people will say really nasty things in the comments or whatever. And so that's where it's like, ugh. And so I kind of related to Lala in that sense where like I'll just do things and say things and just like, have my moments that I know, okay, sometimes I'm attracting this because I'm poking the bear, right? I'm poking the bear. But sometimes it can be a lot. And so I understand that. But I mean, even from Ariana's side too, like I really related to her when she was just like, when she was talking to Tom and she's like, she's like, I didn't do anything to you. And I loved that she even brought up the fact that Tom's the one that brought Rachel into the group, right? He's like, you brought her around and you brought her into our lives. And now this bitch won't stop talking about me. And every day I have to, she's like, I did nothing to her. And yet she won't stop talking about me. I did nothing to her. And yet now she's suing her. And when you think about that, like that is really fucked up for Ariana to have to, she did nothing to recount what she told her to fuck herself with the cheese grater. Remember last year when everyone was mad at Ariana about that? Now you guys are all eating out her something about her sandwiches, eating out her tuna melt. Um, it's just Rachel is something else. But like I got it, and she's just like, I want you gone. I want nothing to do with you anymore. And Sandoval was like, I get it. And I think they finally had that moment of like, I don't know if it was closure necessarily, but he's like, listen, I get it. If you need to hate me and you want nothing to do with me, like I get it. I don't want to push myself down your throat anymore, Now she's out of the house, she's got a new house, like everything's being divided and, hopefully they can move forward and see where it goes from here. I do think she'll be happier without being on the show though. I do think, Did you catch the shade she threw at Brock though? When they were talking about Dan not really being on the show, and then, because she's like, well, he wasn't getting paid. And then Andy's like, well, Brock wasn't getting paid at first either. And she's like, well, he doesn't want this life. And she like made it seem like Brock wants this life so bad, which listen, I think Brock enjoys this life. But I was like, oh, the shade. But yeah, it was, I liked that we had that moment of closure between Ariana and Sandoval. And I think it would have been more compelling in the finale, but I understand it was just a couple of months after everything had gone down. Everything was still fresh. Emotions were still pretty high. Oh, here we go. PB0707 says, in my opinion, we are getting oversaturated with Vanderpump. We literally knew most of this season already. I'm shocked Bravo does not lock down the chatter on their own podcasts anymore. They do. Well, I mean, I feel like we got a lot of it, not necessarily from their own podcasts, because I don't think they were allowed to talk about certain things on their podcast, but they were getting it from like social media. Remember, like paparazzi were following them. TMZ was like capturing when Sheena and Tom were fighting in the back alley of SUR, and they were like, "That's new. We've never experienced that before." Or like a fan took a photo with the group when they were in Lake Tahoe, and then that went online. And then I feel like the storylines have gotten leaked because fans are more invested, and the press was more invested in getting stories about this. But thank you for the super chat. Jen Johnson also sent a super chat and says that she misses Shaw's of Sunset. I miss Shaw's too. Shaw's was a good time. Okay. Let's see what you guys dare I dip into the live chat and see what you guys are saying about the finale. But I think Lala's apology to the fans, it felt like she's like, listen, I love you guys and I want to give credit to you guys. You give us all, like, we have these lives because you tune in and watch the show and talk about the show and are so invested. And she's like, if I said anything that was out of pocket, I apologize. It was just coming from a place of me feeling judged as a mother when it felt unfair because you don't see me as a mother. You don't see me raising my kid on the show. And then we'll get into Lisa Vanderpump. Give me your thoughts on the reunion, but we'll get into Lisa Vanderpump, who just appeared on the Call Her Daddy podcast in just a second. She was with Alex Cooper, and I had some feelings about it. But before we dive into all of that, just wanted to remind you guys that today's episode is sponsored by the ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program. Your pet is part of your family and you want the best for them no matter what, right? But vet bills can really add up. That's why you should check out pet insurance. And with ASPCA Pet Health Insurance, you can focus on the care that your pet deserves and cover what matters most. The ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program offers customizable accident and illness plans, making it easier for pet parents like you and me to help your pet get the care that they need. They allow you to customize your plan, helping to ensure that your pet's plan is as unique as they are, because vet bills can add up, especially when you're least expecting it. It's simple. Use the app to submit a claim and you'll receive reimbursement for eligible vet bills directly into your bank account. To explore coverage, visit aspcapetinsurance.com/no-filter. That's aspcapetinsurance.com/no-filter. Again, ASPCA petinsurance.com/no filter. This is a paid advertisement. Insurance is underwritten by either Independence American Insurance Company or United States Fire Insurance Company and produced by PTC Insurance Agency Limited. The ASPCA is not an insurer and is not engaged in the business of insurance. Also, wanted to remind you guys that summer is coming and you're going to want to stock up on some dry farm wines for those summer shindigs. It is sugar-free, low-carb, keto, and paleo-friendly wine. I like to call it my hangover-free wine because you don't get that gnarly hangover when you drink it because there's no toxic additives in it. It's third-party tested for purity, lower in sulfites, farmed organically, and it's vegan. Better, you can get your first bottle for just a penny. Head on over to dryfarmwines.com/Zack. That's ZACK. Dryfarmwines.com/ZACK to get your first bottle for just a penny. Dun, 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 dun. Pop. Okay, let's see. All right. Ooh, you guys are already getting feisty in the live chat. We have Mary Jane Allison says, Lala should be apologizing to Ariana. Okay. And then Sydney said she did apologize to Ariana at the reunion. Ooh, shots fired. Brian says Lala understands that she's got real money on the line. That said, she's part of the reason why the show is over in its current version. Break the fantasy, lose the audience. Well, actually, this is a hot take, and I remember bringing this up last night at Schwartz and Sandy's because there was one table there last night, and they were like super team Ariana. Like anytime like Ariana had a point, they were like the only table in the room that was like, "Yeah, go Ariana." I was like, "You're the minority in this room." But but so because everyone was like, oh, because Ariana had that moment where she's like, I don't think I'm Beyonce. She's like, but if we're talking in show terms, I think me leaving the finale was way more interesting than me staying there and talking to Sandoval. And she's like, and if we are talking in show terms, that moment, will probably help you get another season to help you get another paycheck, la. And everyone's like, yeah. And I was like, girl, you walked out of the finale and went to Applebee's. That did not secure anybody another season. The cast's reactions, right? The breaking of the fourth wall. Like if anything, I say give credit to like Lala, who reacted very organically and honestly, whether we liked it or not, she was very much, had her feelings and they were compelling. And I think they got the audience fired up about it. And that's what made her so polarizing is her reaction to Ariana was what was being talked about. I think had Ariana just left, the finale would have been a flop. But credit to the producers and credit to the editors because the editors were what edited that final scene to be so compelling, right? And Lala narrated most of that final scene. We had a bit of Ariana in there as well, explaining her side of things. But like, I think the credit goes to Lala because her reaction is what everybody is talking about. Everyone's mad at her. You don't like her reaction, but I don't think Ariana walking out and going to Applebee's was all that inspiring. She has every right to do that, but I don't think it makes a very compelling show. Again, it's entertainment. It's conflict and resolution. We want to see these things play out on camera. You know, you don't want to watch somebody be like, nope, I have boundaries and I'm doing that. Like, if you have boundaries, that's great. Like nothing against you having boundaries, but it just doesn't create a compelling reality show, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. Sydney Sweeney says, I'm hitting the nail on the head. I agree. I think the credit goes to Lala. Her reaction, I've never experienced somebody getting cheated on, and suddenly she becomes God. And also, Joe Mendoza says, to be fair, the breaking of the fourth wall would not happen had Jeremy and the producers not let the cast break the fourth wall post Ariana's walkout. Lala and Sandoval having to talk would be another cringe Miami moment. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I mean. Like the credit does, I think, go to the producers. Like Lala's reaction. Lala gave us that moment, but them choosing to show us the breaking of the fourth wall moment and then choosing to allow Lala to tell that side of the story and to play all the throwback clips and to show them, in their old confessionals, like, and the music behind it, like that whole moment was very compelling. And as fans, we were, so invested and engaged in what was going on in that moment. So I think that was an editor producer decision to lean into that. That I think they probably get more of the credit than I wouldn't. My point is, I'm not giving Ariana any of that credit. Like, I just don't. I'm sorry. She walked out. Um, PB says, I miss the OG Vanderpump Rules days when the fights in the back alley and a cigarette chugging Pinot. Exactly. That's what we love. We love that mess, right? We don't love, to stand a queen on her back. I don't. Listen, it's part of the reason I hate Kendall and Kylie on the Kardashians. They don't want to show us anything about their lives. And I'm like, why be on the fucking show? Your name isn't even Kardashian. Like, they literally give us nothing. And in the new season, Kendall's like, I know everybody thinks that I'm the boring sister, but I'm not that boring. She's like, but I talk about the same thing every time. I talk about my anxiety and my horses. I'm like, yeah, 5 seasons and we're still talking about your anxiety and your horses. And I get it. Everyone's like, oh, but anxiety is so real. And I'm glad that, like, we're talking about anxiety because it's so real. No, it's fucking boring. Okay. It's fucking boring. Kendall Jenner is so boring on the Kardashians. Maybe she's interesting in real life, but you know what we don't get to see? Kendall Jenner's real life. Why? Because she has too many fucking boundaries. That's my thing. When you're on a reality show and you have all these fucking boundaries, it's not interesting. It's, guess what? Boring. Thank you. Come again. Rachel sure did all over their house. B. Douglas says, I like Katie. I like them all except Sandoval. That's a very basic thought. But you like Katie? I mean, I guess we're all entitled to our opinions, but like even Louis Vuitton makes mistakes. Sarah says, why didn't we talk more about Tom talking like that in the end? That's a good point. So we did, and I'm glad Ariana called him out about that, about how at the end Tom's like, well, it's good for me. I think, yeah, in show terms, that hot mic moment, it does kind of show that, like, and I think we talked about this when we talked about the finale, like, it does kind of show, like, he is very much about his image. I did believe that the emotion, though, from both Ariana and from Tom Sandoval and their tears at the reunion, I believed that they were both real. And it was because when we were watching it last night at Schwartz and Sandy's, I had people at my table, a couple of my friends, and one of them's like, I don't believe Sandoval's tears. I don't believe that they're real. And I was like, but like, you also have to put into context, like, he was with Ariana for 9 years, that's almost a decade, right? That I think their emotion is real and raw because of the history that they have together, you know? Um, when you're with someone for 9 years and then they question your character and they question whether or not they believe that your apologies are sincere or whatever, like, that does affect you in some way because you're like, wait, no, I was with you for 9 years. Like, you do know me. And her being like, I don't know you. Like, I understand that coming from her, where she's like, you lied to me for 7 months. I don't know who you are. I don't know if I can believe any of the words that are coming out of your mouth. That's real for her. And on the flip note, I think him realizing that this person that I loved, that I thought, knew me at my core, no longer knows who I am anymore. Like, that is kind of gut wrenching and that is heartbreaking because I believe he does still love her. You don't spend 9 years with somebody and not even when you go through a messy divorce or a messy breakup, that love and that connection that you guys had is still going to be there. And that's why breakups and separations are so messy and layered, because you do have all of those good feelings as well as those bad feelings. Like, Ariana still loves Tom. That's a reality too. I don't think she would be this hurt and this angry or, this emotional about it if those feelings and that love wasn't genuinely there. If you don't care about somebody, you don't care about somebody. And that emotion just doesn't exist because you don't care about somebody. I think that there's still a lot of love there between the two of them. There's just also a lot of hurt and pain between the two of them, you know? Brian says this is all really a great take on this show. Thank you. Sydney says, good question. Why didn't we talk more about that line from Tom. I feel like we touched on it, but we did. I mean, Ariana kind of touched on it, but I don't know how many people picked up the cast, how many people picked up on it to keep talking about it, you know? Kat says, I hate when people use boundaries as an excuse to not do anything. I mean, you know. Mrs. Machete says James is kicking ass. Sold out shows here in Vegas. Get it, James. He's living that Vanderpump life. But don't you guys think it was edited? What was edited? Selena Goring says, I'll never make excuses for Tom cheating, but let's be real. That relationship has been a mess for a while. Him cheating is no shocker, just who he did it with. Yeah. I mean, I think when Lala said, I don't think either of them have been honest about their relationship um, for years. I think that was honest. And I loved that they showed that throwback clip of Katie basically saying exactly that on camera, they have to pretend like they have a perfect relationship. And it was unseen footage that did not air originally from season 10. I was like, well, Katie. Laura says, I have to say, they were finished filming when the affair broke. Ariana chose to call production. She could have broken up with him off camera easily. Now she wants to not film certain parts. That's an interesting point that I didn't think about either. Joe Mendoza says, I'm mad they cut the episode. Schwartz talking about the particular bar being the best place to go to take a shit in. Oh, I don't even remember that. You're not lying about Kendall Jenner's act. Thank you, Sapphire. I agree. Kendall is boring. Let's not forget Rachel was the only one Tom cheated on Ariana with. People days at least 2 to 3 other people. Yeah, Kirsten. Yeah, you go, girl. Dina says there's nothing wrong. There's nothing worse than being willing to fall on the sword for your partner and that partner taking that for granted. Yeah. Stacy says, I can't wait to get your and Chef Stu's honest opinion about the something about her sandwiches. Well, here's the thing. I feel like I'm probably actually gonna like them because I don't have a chef palate. I feel like Stu's gonna have a more well-rounded opinion about them because he is a chef. He knows flavors and seasonings and all of that stuff. I'm just gonna be like, this tastes good. I'm here for it. And this one was a little bland. I'm not here for it. This one's as bland as Katie Maloney's emotion when she served me this sandwich, you know? Okay, Joe says, did you guys already talk about why Lala thinks it's unfair for Ariana to dictate how the show goes and she wasn't able to dictate how the show went when she was in the situation back in season 9. We haven't talked about that, but I mean, I think a lot of people are saying Lala's jealous. I think this did come across a little, I don't know if the right word is jealous or bitter, but I get it. Lala's like, I was not given the same grace that Ariana's been given. And I agree with that. And she's like, and it's not fair. And when I went through my separation from Randall, I was badgered for it. And then they played back all of those clips where the cast, did kind of judge Lala very harshly. So I understand, Lala had to sit in that seat, and the reaction that she got at the time was not the same reaction that Ariana's getting. And it's the same show. And, I think from Lala's perspective, her situation was a lot worse than Ariana's. I mean, I think they're just both two terrible, fucked up situations. In terms of their partners cheating on them. But yeah, I mean, you could tell that Lala had a lot of strong, maybe some bitter feelings about that, Let's see. B. Douglas says, life's not fair. That cracked me up. Life's not fair. Fuck her. Nikki B says, let's talk about Lala versus Brittany again. Slap a hoe and Kentucky Muffin seemed like an odd move. I love Lala, but that wasn't smart. I don't think that wasn't smart, but I do. The Lala versus Brittany thing. I mean, Brittany was a little out of pocket for that. You know, Kentucky Muffin. She was a little out of pocket coming after. Like, why are you going to text Lala's mom about a babysitter? That was a little strange. But I'm like, listen, bring Lala on the Valley. Let her give Jackson Brittany a piece of her mind. She's got something about her that she can blast all over Brittany's beer cheese. Lala said that because you don't talk to her mama like that. Yeah, I feel like we would all kind of be in that same boat, right? Like, you don't talk to my mama like that. You don't be texting you have a problem with me? Call me, handle it with me directly. Like Dorinda told Ramona. You have a problem with me? Bring it to me directly. About John, remember? Because she was like, well, I hear John this and I hear John that. So, oh. Lala throwing that was absolutely smart. We need a new villain other than Jekyll and Hyde Janet. Yeah, Jekyll and Hyde Janet's not a fun villain because she doesn't lean into being a villain. She's just like, she's like a low key villain, but she's like, I'm pregnant, love me. She ain't. I thought Jekyll and Hyde Janet was going to be boring. I didn't realize she was going to be, as crazy as she is. But also lean into the villain and own it, girl. Nessa says, please, my mama is a grown woman. She does not need she does not need defending by me. But when they're talking about your kid and you're getting scolded about a babysitter about your kid, But Lisa Vanderpump was on Call Her Daddy. It wasn't the best interview. I listened to it this morning. It wasn't the best interview, you guys. Only because Alex Cooper, I do love and have a lot of respect for Alex Cooper, but you can just tell she has no clue who Lisa Vanderpump is. She doesn't watch Vanderpump Rules. She doesn't watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and that's fine. Alex Cooper doesn't seem like the type that would be interested in all of that, but at the same time, I don't know. It just she was interviewing Lisa and it was this big moment, right? But she didn't know anything. She's like, let's play she would play these dumb games. She's like, let's play a never have I ever. Never have I ever had wine thrown in my face. I'm like, if you actually watch these shows, when has Lisa Vanderpump ever thrown wine at somebody or had wine thrown in her face? What a dumb question. Um, I don't know. It was and she was like, never have I ever. I don't know. She was just asking really dumb questions that you can just tell she had no clue. But a couple of tidbits. Lisa was on color. That's what we're talking about, Britt. We're talking about just that. Something about her is nothing about her. So Lisa Vanderpump said that she is the most like Stassi because she asked which of all of these cast members would you say that you're the most like? She said that she was the most like Stassi. And then they talk about Stassi's character arc and her evolution throughout all of the seasons of Vanderpump Rules and how she's in a better place now. And Lisa's like, listen, I know at the time, they fired Stassi, because the time was very, it was a heated talking point that year. And she's like, I understand why they let Stassi go, but you know, it seems like she would have kept Stassi and wanted to keep Stassi for sure. But she also says that she knows about a couple that was cheating because Alex asked, have you ever known a couple where you know that there's cheating, but you didn't actually say anything? And Lisa was like, yes, I do. I do know of a couple that was cheating and I didn't say anything. And she's like, why didn't you say anything? And she made a good point of being like, well, because one, sometimes that couple doesn't want to hear it. And two, if you bring it up, you end up being the bad guy. Or if they end up, working through the infidelity, then it becomes awkward because you're the one that exposed the infidelity and then they cut you off as a friend. She's like, it never, I guess that's a poll question for the day. If you know somebody is cheating, would you tell their partner? Would you tell your friend if you knew that their partner was cheating on them? It's interesting, but she wouldn't say who it was with. And Alex was like, well, it has to be either about Kyle and Mauricio or about Dorit and PK. But I was thinking maybe about Dorit and PK because she was kind of close to PK and knows PK's friends and they're from the same world. But maybe she was referring to Jax and Brittany. You know, like maybe she knew Jax was cheating, but she didn't say anything to Brittany because Brittany wanted to keep her head in the sand. But then she talks about Sandoval cheating. She makes it very clear that she absolutely did not know about the affair. She's like, people make it seem like I knew about the affair, and I like obviously when she had Ken come down and talk about Rachel being in the jacuzzi, you know, when they had that scene with Katie in their kitchen, tasting something about her sandwiches. Yet, like, how many scenes have we had tasting something about her sandwiches? Um, but she was like, "I wouldn't have actually said that and, like, talked about that if I really believed that the affair was happening." She's like, "I was saying that because it was, like, a juicy thing, and, like, we were talking about it because, like, yeah, it was juicy for the camera." She's like, "But Ariana was defending Rachel so hard," and she's like, "Rachel would never do that. Rachel would never do that. Rachel would never do that." She was like, "So, like, of course, none of us believed that Rachel was actually doing that because it seemed like, you know, Ariana was fine, you know, and she wasn't bothered by any of that type of stuff." But she says that she doesn't think that Tom's cheating on his current girlfriend, the new girl, because she's like, we've never really known Sandoval to be very sex motivated. And until Lisa said it, I was kind of like, huh, maybe he's not very sex motivated. Like obviously he likes to have sex, and that's why, you know, he wasn't having sex with Ariana, so whatever. He decided to step out of that relationship. But like Jax is very, I think, sex motivated, and that's why he always was getting caught in these cheating scandals. But I think Tom is like connection intimacy motivated, right? Like he likes meeting someone that'll like gas him up and do shrooms with him and like have a psychedelic experience about life. God, you know, like that's Sandoval's turn on more than the physical stuff. So she doesn't think that Sandoval is currently cheating on his girlfriend and doesn't really think that he's much of a cheater, even though he has cheated a lot in the past. So that's an interesting hot take from Lisa Vanderpump. But she says that part of the reason they did focus on Tom's mental health and his fragile mental health and his like, you know, thoughts of wanting to unalive himself. She's like, she's like, I did tell producers we needed to focus on that. She's like, one, because I took it very seriously. You know, obviously she lost her brother that way. And she's like, so I did take it seriously. I didn't think that he was faking that, number one. And number two, you know, she's like, that struggle was his reality, you know, and I thought that that was the other side of the story that also deserved to be told. And then Alex pitches her on. She's like, you know what? I have this great idea, Lisa, and I think that you should fire the current cast and bring in a whole new cast of fresh faces that don't even have Instagram following or anything. And then Lisa's like, well, darling, that's a great idea, but somebody may have already beat you to the punch with that pitch. And I was like, yeah, me. I've been saying that for like the past 2 seasons. So, mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Ooh, Joe says Sandoval did say during Secrets revealed that Rachel Sandoval slept with at least 3 women. Secrets revealed. Oh, that after Rachel, he slept with at least 3 women. Like while he was still with Ariana. Oh my god! So he was cheating on. Oh my god! Where did I missed that? I did not know that. Wow. Um, Miss Morton says, "Oh Zach, I adore you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you." Kirsten says all the women the guys are with now are for fun, playthings like to. Yeah, I don't think any of them are like trying to jump into serious relationships, but yeah, they're all on their rebounds. Brianna says Sandoval is ego motivated. He wants someone who will put him on a pedestal, and Ariana had stopped. That's a good point. You know, at one point she was like, "Oh, Tom, you're so cool. You're the best thing ever. You're like the coolest thing since sliced bread." And Tom loved that. Tom does love to be gassed up. But I do also think he's very much like an emotion person. He's an intimacy person. And if he loses intimacy with someone, then if he loses intimacy with someone, I think he'll crave that and have more emotional affairs, which is why maybe he doesn't think that he's much of a cheater because he's having emotional affairs. So, yeah. Jackie says, your takes are so whack. Thank you. Look at this. Whack. Mm, mm. Smell that looming deodorant. um, Lauren says Sandoval cheated on his last 2 girlfriends. It's too early to know if he will cheat on his new girlfriend. I just think she's a rebound, you know? PB says, big titties that Jax is dating is hilarious. I can't with these predictable men. She's detective titties, remember? Detective titties. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Is that really true? I mean, I think once you cheat, you get better at cheating, so you can, or you think you can get better at cheating. You're like, oh, I've already done that. Here are the mistakes I made last time. Let me do it better. Like, I feel like it's a game. You're gonna constantly try to, like, once you already go there, you know, it's easier to go back there. I think that, a cheater could change, but I just think it's a lot easier for them to stay cheating than not. Brian says, weird take. Jax and Kristen are both from Michigan. Jax went to my high school. That Michigan family life is something to look out for. Ooh. Ooh. Joe says, since you mentioned Lumi, aside from you, who else has smelled Lumi on your pits recently? I think it's been a minute, Joe, since anybody has smelled my pits. Some people do get, like, turned on by that. I've never been somebody that's, like, been turned on by armpits or, like, wanting to smell somebody else's armpits, but, some people do get very turned on by that. It's been a minute for me, though, in armpit specific, TBH. Okay. Oh, Mama Llama says she loves Lumi. I love Lumi too. Ariana fell in love 10 days after the scandal. She's doing better without him. Yeah, I agree, Lena. I agree. All right. Well, on that note, thank you guys for tuning in to No Filter with Zack Peter. There will be a new episode of Pop Report out today. So if this wasn't enough for you, me and Andy are on the Pop Report with an all new episode that drops today. On Wednesday, we'll also have a new episode that'll drop this Friday. And new episodes of No Filter Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So you get 4 episodes of No Filter, 2 episodes of Disaster Dater, or sorry, 2 episodes of the Pop Report. You'll get Disaster Daters back at the end of June is when I believe we're launching the new season. So stay tuned. Give me a follow at Just Plain Zack all over the internet. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack and stay here for all the latest reality TV. Be sure to hit the like button if you're watching this on YouTube before you head out. Hit that subscribe button down below. That way you're always up to date. And if you want to make sure you get the notifications when we go live, you can hit that little bell down below. Hit the little bell button and you will get the notifications every time we are live here on the YouTube. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please give me a nice 5-star review. I love the 5 stars. I love the validation. And same thing on Spotify. You can give me 5 stars. I love it. I appreciate it. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I will talk to you tomorrow. Latest Skater, don't forget to catch a new episode of the Pop Report dropping today. All right. Ciao for now. Bye. 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 Bye.